Yay!
Welcome back. Welcome to
Welcome.
episode 6.
It's the Mils and Kez show. I won't say it too loud because we'll have Ashton running back in here again. My son is in a very jovial mood today and wanting to stick his head in this camera at every opportunity. So, yes, we'll keep it on the LD.
Right, good one. How are you, Kez?
Yeah, good. What can I say? I did night duty last night, so
Mm,
anything could come out today. So a
you're
little.
looking fresh.
Oh, no, thank you. I like that. I like that. Yeah. So I've been up an hour or so. I've already had a meeting with the positive behavioural specialist today. So we've just found each other, and now this might be a common theme with special needs parents, but you find someone that's really awesome, and then they go and move on to somewhere else.
Mm,
So I've never hung on to like a allied health professional for any longer than like a year or two because they always move somewhere. Maybe it's me. What's the common denominator here?
what messages are you putting out there?
What story did I
Mm.
just make up to myself?
Right. It's not happening to you, Kez. It's happening for you.
I know, and that's the thing. So anyway, she's referred me on to someone else, which is good, and I've been having a bit of trouble with funding. But yeah, it's so hard to find someone. Or it's not hard;
Mm,
it's a challenge to
mhm.
find someone consistently for a long time.
Yeah.
So just another thing. So she's referred me
Mm,
on to someone else. So I start with her in the next
great.
fortnight. So we'll see how that goes and
Good.
if we can find someone in person. All good. So yes, I've already done that this morning. So I have woken up a bit, and yeah, my daughter's not very
That
well.
got your brain juices flowing, did it?
It's
Happening?
got that synovial fluid like pumping. Yeah,
Yes.
work's already tried
Yes.
to rope me into work again twice today, and I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Busy. I've got things to do. I've got to meet up with my mate Millsy. I've got a
I
client call
know.
at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning, so I've got to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for that. So yeah,
Yeah.
hey, things to do.
So we do have a scenario for you today, but I wanted to run something past you because I know we are so aligned with so many things. And I
Mm.
heard something today and I wrote it down. I've got my journal here ready.
Oh, I love this.
Did I write it down? I wrote it somewhere else. I wrote it on my other notes. Okay.
Okay.
You know how we talk about authenticity
Mm-hmm.
and like when you break it down, you go, what is authenticity?
Mm-hmm.
I heard an explanation the other day, which I freaking love.
Excellent. Hit
So
me.
it is when your head, your heart, and your gut are all on the same path.
Ooh, I like that.
What do you
So
think of that?
head, heart, and gut
When your
authenticity.
head, your heart, and your gut are all in alignment, you are operating in authenticity.
I like that. Let me
And
write.
I've been stewing up because I reckon that was at that meditation weekend that I went to. That's where I
Oh,
heard that.
okay.
And I've been marinating in that for a while, going, let me, you know how I just like to think things through and all that. And
Mm.
I've been thinking about this, going, how many times have I've had maybe had 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, I can totally get on board with
That's
that now because
yeah.
I'm thinking to myself when um like we had a scenario at my work where people were talking about a client.
Uh-huh.
No, it wasn't a client actually. It was I don't know the person anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, you know when your people start bitching and you
Yeah.
want to get involved,
Yeah.
like for the attention or to be drawn into the drama or to be
Mm-hmm.
part of the gang and what's going on in
Yeah.
the lunchroom.
Yeah.
You know that feeling.
Yeah.
So when that kind of stuff's going on, and you go, that's not who I am anymore. Like
Mm.
maybe in years gone by, I'd be like, oh yeah, and did you hear about this? And then they said this, you know, that feeling. And then it's like, I'm not that person anymore. So I'm more of an observer, a witness type person now. And I was actually thinking that is when my heart wasn't in it to get involved in something,
Yeah.
or my gut is telling me, take a
Yeah.
step back. And my
Yeah.
head is
Your
going, I don't
brain would have
even
been like,
know this person. So
yeah.
why would I have anything to add or, contribute to that
Mm.
conversation?
Yeah.
I thought that's my head, my heart, and my gut. are all lining up. I'm not getting involved. I'm in alignment. I
But
thought,
you know who was speaking up then was your ego, your
yes,
adolescent chair self going, join in the bitching because then you'll belong. So
yes,
that's where that pull, that's
yes,
really awesome awareness because that's where that pull came from, that
yes,
needing to be accepted and one of the gang and belonging is a core need. And
yes,
and yeah,
yes,
and you thought, you know what? There's a really interesting correlation. I love what you said about authenticity, but about integrity as
yes,
well. And
yes, yeah,
I'll share my little definition that I discovered of integrity the other day as well, because I think they're very closely
yes,
intertwined. But it was like, I'll give you my definition of integrity, and then I'll say how it relates to this. So
mm, mm,
integrity is like a whole part of yourself, like you yourself as a whole. So think of like an aeroplane. You want an aeroplane to be in integrity. You don't want parts of the aeroplane falling off. So with you saying to yourself, I'm not going to participate in this
Beach
rumor,
fest, yeah.
yeah, let's call it what it was, um, because if I do, I'm not going to be in integrity because I'm giving a part of myself away, my higher self away, for a cheap feeling of belonging.
Mm,
I know it's not who I am.
yeah,
So yeah, so when you're out of integrity, it's like you're pulling a piece of the plane that is you
mm-hmm,
off, and you're not your
mm.
you're abandoning yourself for comfort, for belonging, for
Or some kind of secondary gain.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great awareness. But yeah, it's interesting that yeah, your ego would have been going, do it, do it, do
I
it, do it.
know. Like, tell me everything. Who's this person? What do we know? Like, and I thought, no,
But your
I'm not going to
logical
get
brain is going, this isn't who we are. Your heart's going, this isn't who we are. And your gut was like, this
stay
feels
away. Get
this feels like
yeah,
us.
back out. Start backing out the room. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
So
really
yeah.
cool. Well done. Well
So
done.
that's something to think about, people.
And you don't necessarily have to like stand up for the person and say you don't know who this person is and la la la, like you don't need to make a big drama about it, but you just not participating
Mm,
is like in alignment with who you are.
mm,
So yeah, like you let them do them, but yeah,
mm.
just know that it's not what you do anymore.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
I
I
love
thought I can still hang out and eat lunch and sip my tea and take it all in and see all the, in my opinion, it was see all the adolescents at play,
yeah.
but I'm not joining in.
Okay, so
But
question. Here we go.
mm,
Let's throw a spanner in the works.
let's,
If they said to you, what do you think, Millsy? What do you think
I'd
your
be like,
response?
I don't even know anything about this, so I don't speculate.
Ah, like that. So still
Mm.
setting the boundary without shaming them.
Yeah, just say, look, I don't speculate on matters I don't really have. Like, I don't have the information. I don't know.
Oh, I like that. That's
Yeah,
good
because
because
let's face it, half of bitching is speculating.
mhm.
It's making up stories. It's getting validation for good behavior, bad behavior, like, oh, didn't they act terrible? And oh yeah, you did the right thing by sticking. It's a lot of stories. It's a lot of assumptions.
A lot of assumptions, judgment, blame. Excuse me.
Mm, mm.
Oh, I bought an empty drink. Bought an empty thing with me. That's right. I'll suffer through. Yeah, no, that's a great story. I actually did that just today in one of our similar chat groups.
Mm.
Today, there was a little bit of not biffo, but like little bit of I don't know, just a little bit of like, oh. And I went to go in and I said, is this actually going to be helpful? No, it's not. So then delete, delete, delete. So I just deleted it.
Okay.
If it's not helpful, it's quite possibly harmful. So I just decided to not.
Yeah.
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 And oftentimes you can just it's that whole Mel Robbins let them thing,
Let
isn't it?
them. Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
it's a movement. It's like it
I
was
love
like
it.
me too. Now it's let them sort
Let
of thing.
them. I know.
Yeah. But
I
yeah,
love
it's
it.
like yeah. So
So authenticity and integrity, two sides of the same coin. What do we think? Like they're do you have one without the other? Can you be authentic without having integrity? Are they kind of sort of the same thing?
I think two sides of the same coin would be what's the shadow of the light. So what's the
Yeah.
authenticity would be selling yourself out, I guess. Authenticity,
Mm,
yeah, abandoning yourself, I guess. Opposite
mm,
authenticity and integrity, yeah,
mm.
giving yourself away for cheap thrills and a bit of comfort.
Well, we like to have a lot of both, don't we, these days?
Yes, yes, but yeah, doing it in a way that feels good to you is
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I love that. So we've got some really good. I love getting like proper definitions of things. So then when you talk, because everyone has different perspectives, so it's so good to have a definition of something just so we know that everyone's on the same page.
Mm,
So whenever I start a masterclass or a group coaching session, I'll say what we're talking about and then I'll give a definition of it so we're all on the same page. Because if you're talking something like judgment, for example, that could mean different things to different people.
yes.
And so it's really good to have it all out before
Yeah. Especially
speaking.
when it's such like a topic or an aspect that can have so many um, sides to it. Like
Yeah,
what you might think of as kindness, someone else might think of as, I don't
being
know, something
too
else.
soft or people pleasing or
Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So coming at, yes, good idea. Coming at it from the same way. It's good.
Because yeah, some people might look at people pleasing as being kind, but people like us might think, it's actually you're sacrificing too much. Like it's being kind, but at what cost? If it's costing you too much.
And being codependent. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
all that.
Yeah, interesting. What was another one that I just had it in my head and it just fell out again. So this is not Judy brain.
On
There
my
might
brain all the time.
might
That's
be
my perimenopause brain. Yeah.
there might be a bit of that to though. Um, ego. Ego is another great example. Like some people think ego is being a big head, being too
Oh,
much,
right.
putting yourself. But ego, as we see it, is that part of yourself that is like a bumbling Labrador. Like it wants to protect you, but it just trips over itself and gets in the way most of the time because it makes you
Yeah,
do that
yeah.
that
It
don't.
keeps us safe, but it does it in negative ways generally to
Mm,
keep us small, to keep us safe.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, when you say the word ego, straight away think of that Skyhook song. Is not a dirty word, but yeah, I mean, but ego can also, if you're looking at it in that way, can actually move you forward
yeah,
in a positive direction as well. It can make you be brave. It can make you do things that you wouldn't normally do. So yeah, two
yeah.
sides to every coin.
We can't live without it, that's for sure.
No, 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 absolutely not. No. Well, we can thank it for how far it's like it made us survive our childhood. So thank you, ego. But
Yes, yes.
you can hand down now.
That's
We
it.
don't quite as often as what you
That's
think we
it.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
So have
So
you got a scenario for us, Kez?
sure. All right. So today's scenario is share your thoughts. I'm not sure where I found this, somewhere on the interwebs, but yeah, can't remember where. Okay, so hey there. My husband of 25 years suffers from ED. I'm not sure what ED is. What would ED be?
Is it some kind of diabetes?
We'll Google it in a sec. Okay, let me write it down and then we'll
You
Google what
you,
ED
you keep reading and I'll have a quick
is.
boots while you're doing it.
Yeah, okay. Right, so my husband of 25 years suffers from ED and has for the past 5 years. Oh, he is a diabetic, so ED might be diabetic. I don't know. Um,
Well, the first thing that came up is erectile dysfunction, but let's just
oh, I don't know how that fits in this scenario.
keep going. Let's see. Oh,
My nursey brain filter went emergency department, but that can't be right either.
yeah, yeah.
Um, well, it could be that. So because she also says here he is a diabetic and a horrible alcoholic. Okay, so he's got ED. We're assuming that's erectile dysfunction. Diabetic.
I'm just seeing if there's any other abbreviate meanings
Oh,
here.
Lila just said ED might be eating disorder.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Let's keep going, and it might become more evident as we go.
So important, people. This is why we have definitions.
Right, exactly.
Okay. So, okay. So, problem is when he has a belly full, he blames me for his ED. So, it must be eating disorder. Yeah. Thank you, Lila. So, yeah. Okay. So, let's start and start. Hey there. Husband of 25 years suffers from eating disorder and has for the past 5 years. He is a diabetic and a horrible alcoholic. Problem is when he has a belly full of alcohol, I
Of
guess,
alcohol, yeah.
he blames me for his ED. Would it be emotional depression? Maybe I don't know. Anyway,
Oh, that's another one. Yeah.
um, I am I am fit, look after myself, always well groomed. I financially support myself and kids. I could quite comfortably be on my own and would be a hell of a lot happier. But he always sucks me into feeling sorry for him. The main problem is he always puts me down all the time. Wishes bad things on me, like death. Oh, this is going to be easy. Then the next day, sober, pretends he can't remember anything he said. Oh, how convenient. The
Mhm.
latest torment has really cut to the bone, saying that when he sees other women, particularly at work or my girlfriends, he has urges and movements and laughs about it and says so, therefore, the issue is me. Is
That
he
comes back to erectile dysfunction then. He has movement and urges around
getting
other women.
ED, if anyone at home can figure out what this ED is, so it could be erectile dysfunction, it could be eating disorder, it could be some sort of depression,
Depression.
not sure. Um, okay, so movements and laughs about it says, so therefore the issue is me. I reckon it might be erectile dysfunction because he's saying that the problem is me. Is he gaslighting me and playing me for an absolute fool?
Okay, so maybe if it is erectile dysfunction, um, he's basically belittling her for not
Yeah, making
giving him urges
yeah,
because
it's
other women are giving him urges. Is that what we're thinking?
yeah. So this is interesting. Interesting, interesting. Now I actually have found I bought them off of Temu about what some of the things gaslighters say, and I've cleaned out my study if you've seen my
Mm.
personal Facebook page. And now do you think that I know where those things are? But yeah, it's oh hang on, I've got it. Hang on. Just let me have a quick look. Do you want to pause? Because I don't know how this.
And we're back.
Okay, so I didn't actually find my poster, but well, I found the Timu website where it was offered. So this is interesting. So yeah, so she's asking, is he gaslighting me and playing me for an absolute fool? So let's concentrate on what her question is for a start
Mm.
before we go into this
Hmm.
behavior. So gaslighting is basically, from my understanding, is making someone doubt their own reality.
Yep.
So it actually does come from the term from
The movie.
a
Yep.
movie gaslighting, and yeah, she was like the lights in the house always went dim at a certain time. It was because the husband was upstairs rummaging around, and he's like, no, it's not. It must be you, kind of thing. So it makes you doubt your own perception of reality, and they do it in a way where you think that did I say that? Is that what actually happened? So it's making you
It's only someone that you trust that can do this to you because you can't necessarily believe a stranger, but you're going to believe your partner or a family member. So it's generally someone with an ulterior motive as to like to get a gain from you.
yeah, and
Mm.
for them to get the upper hand. So yeah, so
Yes.
is he gaslighting? So in the
Mm.
poster that I bought, some of the things that what gaslighting sounds like is
Mm-hmm.
you're always making a big deal over nothing. So yeah, so he's laughing about it, so he thinks it's not much.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you always take it so personally? It was just a joke, yeah. So he's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You're always so defensive. You need some serious help. You always blow things way out of proportion. You have no
Mm-hmm.
clue about anything. Why are you even talking to me if you think I'm so terrible? It's all in your head. You're being paranoid. You know you sound crazy, right? You're imagining things that never happened. So, yeah, it sounds pretty gaslighty to me, doesn't
And
it?
it's very convenient that he does this when he's um, had
when
some drinks, like she said, has a belly full, which we assume means that he's drunk.
mm-hmm.
So, and then it's very convenient the next day to forget what you did the night
Mm.
before. It's a very convenient response.
Yes, yeah. And I would say as well. Now this will be interesting. I'll be interested to hear what you think about this. You know how they say that money is an expander, so it just basically makes you more of what you already are. So if you are a stingy person, more money is just going to make you more stingy. Or if you are a generous person with a good heart, more money is just going to make you more generous with a good heart. Alcohol can kind of be that as well.
Right.
If you are a happy person, you might be a happy drunk. This could be completely wrong. But if there's sort of underlying aggression that you keep in check when you're sober, is that something that comes out when your inhibitions are down? And that might be a sign of who you are. I'm not sure.
Mm,
Be completely wrong, and I could be triggering a lot of people out there. But yeah, it just makes me think. I think a lot of truths are spoken in jest and
yes.
in drunkenness.
Yes.
So is this
They
how
yeah, they want to say it when they're sober, but don't necessarily have the courage to. So they say it when they're drunk because their care effect is much lower. Care
Mm,
factor. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so he's obviously got a big amount of emotional immaturity around him.
Hmm.
But yeah, he's and obviously a very unhappy person because if someone is addicted to something, and it could be anything, could be alcohol, could be social media, could be whatever. But Dr. Gabor Mate says, don't tell me about your addiction, tell me about your pain, because that's
Mm,
what it is.
yes. Yes.
So if he is an alcoholic, and it's obviously affected his health because he's diabetic as well.
Bad
Yeah,
combination. Yeah.
and he's obviously tension tagging her to a certain degree because he feels horrible about himself, so he needs to lash out and bring someone else down with him.
I'm just looking at the story too. So she financially supports myself and my kids.
Mm. Doesn't mention that she supports him though, so
Yeah.
mm.
I could quite comfortably be on my own and would be a hell of a lot happier.
But he always sucks me in to feel sorry for him, and then he puts her down all the time.
So it sounds to me like the only thing he's got to offer is, well, he doesn't really have anything to offer, but the only thing he can use to keep her is pity.
Mm.
Like he doesn't financially, she doesn't need him financially.
Mm.
He's,
Yeah.
if it is erectile dysfunction, she's not getting any sensual pleasure from him by the sounds of it.
And
So
no
possibly.
emotional pleasure either because
No,
for women foreplay starts 3 days before the actual act. Like
right.
we need the conversation and the emotional intimacy more than the
Yeah,
physical intimacy.
yeah.
And she's not getting that. Like she's not going to want to, even if he didn't have that, she's not going to want to go near him if he wishes death on her and puts her down all the time. So, I mean, looking at this, so from a relationship perspective, he is not, I mean, because there's secure and there's insecure attachment. So, secure is when you can, in a nutshell, you can take all of your emotions, all of your heart, all of yourself, all of your vulnerabilities, all of your all of the things that makes you, and hand it to someone and say, I trust you with this. So that's a secure attachment. And luckily, a lot of us have got that.
And also, I don't need you, but I want you. Like, you're not completing me. I'm already a complete person, but you're just enhancing what I already am.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Does she have that? Absolutely not.
Does not sound like it. No.
She would not feel emotionally safe with this man because he's putting her down, wishing death upon her. So, no.
Terrible. Yeah.
Awful.
25 years, though. So, my husband of 25 years. So, obviously, there is a lot of attachment there. They've got children. Doesn't do we assume they're maybe late teens, early 20s,
I
that
mean,
in that sort of range. So probably old enough to handle if mum and dad separated.
attachment or codependency, she must be getting something out of it. to be with him for that long.
Well, she wouldn't want to be the bitch to leave an alcoholic, diabetic,
I'm a diabetic. Yeah, exactly.
you
So,
know. So she has to also be a people pleaser to those around her that to avoid judgment.
yeah, yeah. I would, yeah. So the question that I would ask her is, okay, so because obviously this person's not here, I don't even know where I got this question from, but the question as a coach, if a client came to me and was telling me these things, as a coach, it's very, very important that we don't sway anyone's position one way or the
Right.
other. As a friend, I would say kick this guy to the curb, obviously. And if I'm coaching someone who is having relationship problems, I will, if I have an opinion, and like, let's face it, our clients become our friends. Like, you can't help it because you're so involved in their lives.
And you want the best for them. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I make it very clear Coach Kerry is saying this,
Mm.
friend Kerry is saying this.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
just so you know that I'm with you, like I can empathize. So as a friend, I would say this, but as a coach, this is the process that I would take you through. So the first thing that I would do is I would ask her how she feels when he puts her down or when he says the things. How does it feel in your body? And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, she's going to say it feels horrible, it feels
Mm.
unsafe, it feels unfair, all of that. So that would be the first thing. And I'll go, what do you think that that's telling you? So you would ask the right questions to guide her to her own realizations about what she already probably innately knows
Correct.
in herself. But I would certainly not just say, he's an a-hole, kick him to the curb. Friend Kerry would say that probably,
Yeah.
but Coach Kerry would get her to would ask the right questions to get her to her own conclusions.
Right.
The next question. So once she's realised that she feels, I'd probably ask like, what are there any positive aspects of this man, and
Mm.
what percentage of the time do you feel it? So I'd probably ask a question around that. If you're saying like I feel good around him 20% of the time, you sort of go, you know. Then I'd say, and this is the quicker, this question as a coach will get you to the duck's guts of any sort of underlying fear. And the question would be, and this will be the kicker, what are you afraid will happen if you left him?
Mm.
And I would get her to sit with that and just blurt out whatever comes to mind as it comes to her mind
Mm-hmm.
and sit with that feeling. What are you afraid will happen if you left him?
Right.
So those would be the questions that I would
Mm.
ask her. But I mean, he obviously is intensely unhappy within himself.
Yes.
And his way of dealing with that is to make her feel terrible. Or he's blocking it out by alcohol,
He's
obviously.
numbing out, first of all. Yeah.
Yep. And there's probably if it is erectile dysfunction, like this mystery ED, we're assuming it is, there's probably a shit ton of shame around that because men and their erections, it's directly linked to their manliness.
Masculinity. Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
he feels terrible about himself. So he's obviously having to bring her down to kind of in a weak attempt to try and bring himself up. So yeah, so he's doing it in his own. What need is he having met there?
And maybe he realizes, well, he's a mess literally at the moment.
Hmm,
She's well groomed, fit, looks after herself, financially supports herself and her kids. He
hmm.
probably damn well knows she doesn't need him.
Yeah, yeah,
And he's got his own set of issues going on that he's numbing himself out from. Being a diabetic and an alcoholic, super bad combination. It's no
hmm,
wonder it's manifesting in his body,
yeah.
coming out as this.
Hmm.
Maybe whether he feels that if she is the breadwinner, maybe that is a part of his masculinity has been taken away and it's
So,
playing itself out.
and shame with that as well. So
And
this,
that's, yes, yeah, all that. And then he's putting her down to try and raise himself up.
yes,
But that never works. It
no,
reflects completely back on you.
and she's not going to feel anything but resentment and pity.
Resentment. Correct.
And if that's the glue that's bonding the relationship together, it's
There's no foundation there. There's no
no,
love. No.
no, exactly. So we can't fix him. She's the one that's asking for it.
Right.
So I mean, everything we do is a strategy. What is she getting out of the strategy of staying with him is
Yeah.
interesting. So there must be something, otherwise she wouldn't be doing it. Because we always think, oh, I don't know why I do it. It's like we always, every single time, without fail, move towards what is going to give us pleasure or keep us away from pain. So
Right.
the pain that she is hoping to avoid is obviously bigger than the pain of staying with him. So what pain is she avoiding? So probably the judgment, as you say. People are going to think she's a bitch for leaving a diabetic alcoholic husband. Maybe they don't know about it. Who knows? Maybe she's got her own shame that she's carrying about this being the case. Who knows? But yeah, the questions that I would ask is, how do you feel? What are you afraid will happen if you left?
Mm.
And yeah, because that would be the kicker. That's why she's staying. She's
Mm.
afraid that this will happen. So yeah, and I would work with her from that angle
Giving
without
her a bit of strength and boundaries, or
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
just looking at it too, going, um, I'm going to say that this is emotional abuse, really, for what
Oh,
he's doing to her.
yeah,
Abuse is abuse. Like,
yeah. I
it
mean,
doesn't have to be
wishing death
physical.
on
It
you.
doesn't,
I mean,
yeah,
could you ever imagine saying to your husband, "I wish you were dead"?
right.
Like that hurts
That's
me
full on.
to say it like that. I felt that in my gut to say it. Like that would
Yeah,
never
yeah.
cross my lips.
The
Like,
next day, sober, pretends he can't remember. So she thinks he's pretending to. Like
mm,
he's getting that courage from the alcohol to say how he really feels. So he's deeply, deeply
yeah,
troubled, that man.
he's deeply hurting. But if he doesn't
Yeah.
see any his behaviour, then he's not
Mm,
going to help.
mm,
So yeah, so there's nothing that we can do for him unless he wants to seek out, help for himself. But for her, she's got her shit together. She's well groomed. She's financially supportive. Her and her kids, obviously, kids are still at home, quite
mm,
comfortable on her own, puts me down all the time, though, and makes me feel sorry for him. So, yeah, there's something that she's getting out of it. What is that? What is she afraid will happen if she leaves? Because that's the reason why she's staying. If we can move her through that, then get her in touch with, do you want to make this relationship last or not? If
mm,
she decided that she wanted to give it a red hot go, then she could
mm.
use the formula, the Gottman formula of I feel upset, frustrated, and really sad that you say things like da 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 all the time. And if he's denying it, that's gaslighting.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, she could
Yeah,
record
she
to
only has to record him one night on a rant to
exactly. Yeah,
have her evidence, which, by
exactly.
the way, might not be a bad thing to do.
Yeah, yeah. I would probably if he keeps on
Gather
denying.
some evidence. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could even be bothered, because it sounds like this is a done deal, really. This relationship, like this,
Right.
this is like just next level, isn't it? Um, and obviously, like she's obviously got some worthiness issues that she needs to work through as well, because she obviously doesn't feel worthy of having a 10 out of 10 relationship. Like this is like a 1 out of 10,
Mm,
really. She's putting up with. Where was I going with that? So yeah, I would, yeah, if she decided that she wanted to give the relationship a go, use the formula. I feel this because
mm-hmm.
you said this, and this the other night. Now, another addition to that as well, Simon Sinek. Simon
Oh, yeah. I know who
Sinek.
you mean.
He's awesome. He also
He
said
does the TED Talks, doesn't he?
he does do TED Talks, and he's very
Yeah.
much in the leadership sort of
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
And so what the Gottmans say is, I feel because of, so you keep it at a specific thing. So I
Yep.
feel really upset and sad because last night you said you wished I was dead. What the
Yeah.
Gottmans would say is, what I need from you. So say what you need from that person, state
Mm-hmm.
it into positive. So what I need from you is an apology, an acknowledgement that you said it, and an apology and a change in your behavior. So that
Mm,
would be what the Gottmans would say.
mm-hmm.
Simon Sinek would say, I feel because of
Mm-hmm.
what I'm afraid will happen if this behavior continues is, so
Mm,
it's a consequence. So you're stating a boundary Like, this was not okay if this continues. So there's a difference kind of between, like, with the Gottmans, you're kind of saying what you need. With Simon Sinek, you're setting the boundary. What I'm afraid will happen if this continues is I
Mm,
have all respect for you, or what little respect that I have of you, and I'm going to leave. Like, that's the consequences if this happens. So you're stating what the boundary is and why, and what will happen if it continues.
yeah. So that puts the ball back in his court,
That's right.
knowing that this is the chain of events that I foretell is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to stay on that trajectory and be an abusive asshole by the sounds of it? Or are you going to go, you know what? Yeah, you're my wife and you deserve better than that. Yes, the problem is me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to take a certain amount of emotional maturity on his part, which it sounds like he does, but let's
A
not.
shit ton of awareness. He sounds like he's got
Let's
no
give
awareness.
the benefit of the doubt. If she has that conversation with him
Mm,
and actually comes to the party, then they might actually have something to work with.
mm,
But he needs to admit that there's an issue first.
correct. Yeah.
As it stands at the moment, I would give her those questions as a coach. That's how I would work her through the process. I
Yeah.
will not tell her either way what to do, but I would get her in touch with how she feels when she is around him most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Does she think that that is healthy? Another really good question to ask yourself if you are in a situation like this, or a client who is in a situation like this: if your daughter was in a relationship with someone like him, what would your advice to her be?
Mm-hmm.
And then sort of put it back on her. This is the example that you're setting for your daughter of what relationships are like. Is
Yeah.
that what you want?
Yeah.
So sort of throwing it back that way as well, and that sort of really puts the mirror up, because a lot of women especially, we're very willing to get trodden on, walked all over, but when it comes to, your child, mama bear comes out.
Right. We don't let our cubs suffer.
No,
Yeah.
no, no. But I mean, your first and best relationship is always with yourself. So
Yeah.
like, never, never tolerate that. Like, there's just a certain level of ridiculousness that I just
Mm.
even allow in my aura. And if my
Right.
husband was to say, "I wish you were dead," that would be pretty much. I don't think I would leave him, but it would be bags packed. You think about what you've said for a few days. Thank you very much. Me and the kids are going to move in with mum. Like, mum.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
wouldn't
And
be.
putting that daughter scenario even on the husband, going, would you talk to your kids like, or would you allow your daughter to be treated the way you're treating me? Like putting it back on him too.
Yeah. Or if our daughter came home with someone who
Yes.
spoke to her like you were speaking to me,
Yeah.
reaction be? I actually did that. I'm in like a mothers group, Facebook group, and yeah, there was a lady in there that was saying that her husband is constantly yelling at their toddler, and the toddler sort of gave it back to him, and he lost it, and then she lost it at him, and it's like, yeah, but it's like, yeah, I actually put in there, how would I ask him how he would feel if she brought a partner home that spoke to her the way that her father speaks to her.
Right.
That's exactly what's going to happen, because our children, our core memories, our core belief system is formed from birth to 7 years old.
Yeah.
And so everything that we believe to be true about money, relationships, how the world is, all of that sort of thing is hardwired in those formative years. So if this is what their kids have witnessed, that's what they
Yeah.
think is normal. And
That's their standard. That's where the bar is set. And
yeah,
if you're saying that I don't want this to be the role model that my children get their life perspective from, well, you better clean up your own house then.
yeah. And like, you don't want your children thinking, oh, okay, so love looks like putting up with a lot of shit
Right,
together because you feel sorry for them. So then
right,
they're going to seek out someone who is a hopeless case and latch themselves on because they think, oh, this is what love is. I'm in love.
right.
It's like, no,
Yeah,
no, you're in an insecure, horribly attached
yeah, that's it. That's
relationship.
it.
So,
I'd
yeah.
be asking her too, like, give me a list of what your head is telling you right now, and then
Mm,
give me a list of what your body or your heart or your soul is telling you right now, because they're going to be two very different responses.
Mm.
Like her head is going to be thinking of all the reasons why she should do this, she should do that, all the sentimental reasons of, they've been together for 25 years. She's going to, that's where your head comes from.
Mm.
And
Mm.
also it is safe almost. It sounds weird, but it's safe to stay because you know what you're in for,
Yeah, yeah, because there's
rather than it's
same her.
brave to make a move, it's brave to go, and you don't know what you're doing, and your body wants, your mind wants to keep you safe.
Yeah,
So at
yeah,
least you know what you're in for.
exactly.
But
That's why
if
people stay in abusive relationships all the time. It's
right,
well, it's at least I know what I'm getting here. So there's that safety,
yeah,
even though it's not physically safe or emotionally safe,
yeah,
still feels safe to a certain degree because it's same. Yeah.
it's emotional abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor love.
Mm.
Yeah. So the reason why her body would be uh, pushing back from that is like because she's probably quite repelled by the whole thing.
Mm. Like she can't obviously be physically attracted to him because, well, A1, there's not much you can do about it by the sounds, and like you wouldn't want to sleep with someone who is treating you so poorly. Like that's terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, it's yeah, and another thing that you could do as well is like as a coach, you could do like a parts integration sort of session with her and say, one, what's the part of you that wants to stay? And is there a part of you that wants to go? Especially if we got to the point where she's like, I want to go, but I can't. So you'd kind of go, okay, so
Mm-hmm.
what's the part? And you can do some NLP in there as well. So that's something that I would do. There's a parts integration script that I've learned that you put someone through, and it's like, what's the part of you that wants this? What's the part of you that wants that? And the beautiful thing about that is all your parts want your highest good, but there's just one that's doing it in a really dysfunctional way. So that's a really
Right.
finding out really good for like self sabotage and that because there's one part of me that wants to be skinny and fit, and there's the other part of me that wants to eat all the Tim Tams,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, so it's kind of like balancing it. What do
Which
you
one's going to win? Yeah.
yeah, well, which bringing them together and then making them work in a way where they are not fighting each other, they're working with
Right.
each other.
Yeah.
So there's that's another way that I would tackle it, but that might be a session or two down the line. But yeah, it's such an interesting thing, isn't it? But because there's so many things, there's obviously like he's got his issues, but everything's a strategy. We do what we do because we get something out of it. What is her strategy for staying?
Mm,
Her
mm,
fear of being judged or whatever, and I'm just assuming, I'm just making up something here, but I'm assuming that the judgment that she feels, or if he was to do something to himself,
mm-hmm,
she feels like she wouldn't be able to handle the guilt. Maybe there might be that as well. If I leave
mm,
him, he's going to drink himself into a gutter. Sounds like
mm-hmm,
he's already pretty much there anyway.
mm.
So yeah, what is she afraid will happen? Um, yeah, and is he gaslighting? Then yes, because he's
I
making
would say so. Yeah. Because
our own reality.
gaslighting brings confusion, makes you question your own reality. She's definitely doing that.
Makes you
So,
makes you question herself. He's trying to take digs
yeah.
at her confidence because he's saying that he is attracted to other women
Mm-hmm,
as well, and he's sort of deflecting his own ED by making it her fault as well, saying, "Oh, it's not me, it's you. That's why." It's like, yeah, definitely gaslighting. Yeah, so. Yeah, interesting. Like that, there's 34 comments on this, and I only took a screenshot. So I'd be very interested to see what other people had written. So I should have screenshot that as well.
mm.
But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So yeah, so is she being gaslit? 100%.
Yes.
I'd be
Can
diving.
she can she cut through to him and get his awareness around this issue? Because look, if he gets the awareness and actually, what, I want to clean up my life. I want to stop drinking so much. I want to get my function back. Those sorts of things. Like it would be a path for him, but we don't. Sorry, I had an
He's not there.
interruption
Yeah.
there.
But
So awareness. There's no awareness from him of wanting
he
to improve by the sounds of it. So
we
that's
can
half
only
the battle. If he's not prepared to look at his own shit, then
imagine.
she can't do it for him. You cannot change someone else.
Yeah,
You can't change it if they don't want to do it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we could go like into once she's sorted out what she wanted to do, then we would obviously in looking after her further from a coaching perspective, we would look into like values and standards. What are your 10 out of 10 values in a relationship. What are your standards?
Mm,
What are you willing to put up with, and what aren't you willing to
mm,
put up with? So you'd go through all of that as well. But
right.
she sounds like she is very much hurting. There must be something good about him because she's been with him for 25 years. So
Hmm.
something there. So you'd get all of those
And
perspectives. But
obviously, yeah, we're only getting her side of things.
yeah, and
You know
from
what they
her,
say? There's one side, there's the other side, and the truth is somewhere in the middle. So,
what actually happened. But yeah, but
yeah,
everything that she's saying, it's like, yeah,
yeah,
it's
I feel for her. As a
yeah.
client, and if she's asking, the answer would be yes, I believe you are being gaslit.
Mhm.
Let's talk through some strategies. Is it definitely trying the Gottman formula or what Simon says?
Yep.
Working that through with her, maybe giving her the confidence to get him to acknowledge a bit of awareness around it. But if he's just not even open
Even
to
if
it,
she's got the energy for it as well, like
mm,
you'd want to determine is this something that you want to salvage or not? Like
yeah,
you'd work through all that before you even
yeah,
think about having a conversation with him. But if she's
yeah,
like, yes, I still love him. Yes, there are some good points to him. La 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 la.
mm,
Then yeah, then you just have to respect that. But yeah, it's really
yeah,
interesting. You when they ask something, am I being gaslit? All you would need to do is Google gaslighting, say all the symptoms, and say, okay, so this is gaslighting. Does he do this? Yes. Does he do this? Does he do that? You've just answered your own questions, and it's a yes.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, oh, interesting, isn't it? Oh, here's the
Oh, I know. When the internet is such a source of these stories, sadly, and if you any groups that you belong to, and when there's chatting, there's so many of these stories come, don't they? And
yeah,
you think, oh, the things going on behind closed doors, right?
crazy, absolutely crazy. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
But yeah, there's certain like values and standards that I might have like put up with in a lot of relationships in my 20s, but there is a certain level of ridiculousness that I don't even allow in my aura
yeah, I
now.
love that.
And that would be one of them. Like it would only take my partner to say something like that once, and that would be like, I'm out. You do you, like I'd probably give him one chance, but because everyone slips up, but yeah, no.
Yeah, and look, I'm guessing he's had this going on for 5 years. It's probably got progressively worse. And all of a sudden you go, how did I get myself here? I am a strong, capable woman. How have I allowed this to happen? When
Mm,
normally, if he came straight at her now,
out of the
without
blue.
that 5 year lead up of bad behavior, just creeping in and getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah. It's kind of like the frog in the water sort of analogy, isn't it? It's like if you put a frog in water and it was boiling water, it would jump straight out straight away. Be
Yes.
like, oh, that's hot. But then if you put a frog in cold water and then let it slowly come up to the boil,
Turn the
it
heat up.
can, boil
Yeah.
away. So it's
Yeah.
probably a little bit of that. He tried it on, oh, got away with that. Tried it on a bit more, oh, got away with that too. So yeah, hello.
Yeah.
This is my little arrow that I'm babysitting.
Ooh,
Jack Russell. So
cute.
yeah, I can't see him obviously because he's down there. But yeah, all good. Excellent. So
Yeah.
yeah, so look, we haven't solved the problems of the world with this one, Millsy, but I think we've certainly
We've
put
got her on a good path, and what question, like, it's all only she can decide
exactly. Yeah.
what's worth it for her. Is it worth trying to salvage it? Does she want to salvage it? Can she deal with potentially the judgment of others for her decisions?
Yeah. And
And
there would be a lot of self-worth in there. Is there any
yeah,
why you feel you're not worthy of a loving, secure,
mm,
securely attached relationship, a partner that respects you? Like, is there a part of you? So obviously there'd be some childhood stuff, adolescent stuff coming up
yeah,
from that about worthiness of deserving having a
right,
loving partner. Do you even know what you want in a relationship? Getting those values
mm,
and standards down as well. So yeah,
yeah,
finding out what her parents' relationship was like and why she has the idea that relationships need to be this way. It's like
yeah. See, what were her role models growing up?
there's so many layers, and so many
Yeah,
avenues as a coach that we could go down to help her know herself so
yeah.
she knows what she wants.
That is what a good coach does.
That's right. Well,
It helps you discover yourself and make you a better from the inside, because it's an inside job, guys. Loving yourself, being the best person you can be, it's an inside job.
Absolutely, and no one can do it for you. And yeah,
Mm.
the difference between coaching and mentoring is coaching is asking you the right questions, so you come to the right conclusion. If you were to get counselling or mentorship, we'd be telling you how
Right.
it is sort of thing. So that's why coaching
Giving
is
you something to emulate. Yeah.
yeah, because it comes from you. The answers come from you because the answers are
Yeah.
always in you. You just have to
That's
find it.
it. That's
Yeah,
it.
cool, cool.
Okay. That's what we'd do.
Yep, that's what we would do. Anyway, I better go because I have to get
Yes.
on the phone to the doctors in about 15 minutes. I've got to fill
Gotcha.
in before I
All
do.
right. Well, we'll end it there. Thank you, viewers, listeners, wherever you're watching us. Like, comment, subscribe, send us scenarios, send us your feedback. What do you love? What do you want us different?
Do you want a
All of
part
that.
two of the human design thing?
Yeah.
I will, ask the
Send
other
us your questions. We're here for you guys.
people. Yeah, I'm logging off now. Hang on.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. See you
Okay.
next week.
Bye.